You're watching what could be the most embarrassing moment in Brock Lesnar's entire career, and if you think you've seen it all in professional wrestling, you haven't seen anything yet. The Beast Incarnate, the man who has conquered the Undertaker's streak, the former UFC heavyweight champion, the same monster who has ragdolled John Cena like a child's toy, just went crashing down to the mat before his match even started. And I'm not talking about a calculated fall, I'm not talking about a storyline moment, I'm talking about a legitimate, real-life slip that has the entire wrestling world buzzing right now. If you don't hit the like button and stick around to see how this unfolded and what it means for WWE's most dominant superstar, you're going to regret it because this is the kind of moment that changes everything. Monday Night Raw, November 24, 2025. The air is electric. We're just days away from Survivor Series, and the tension surrounding wargames is at an all-time high. Roman Reigns has assembled his faction, Brock Lesnar has put together his own group of absolute destroyers, and tonight's advantage match would determine which team gets the upper hand going into one of the most brutal match types in all of professional wrestling. The stakes couldn't be higher. Careers are on the line. Legacies are being written. And then it happens. Brock Lesnar's music hits. That familiar, menacing theme that has made grown men tremble for over 2 decades starts blaring through the arena speakers. The crowd erupts because love him or hate him, when Brock Lesnar's music plays, you know something catastrophic is about to happen to someone. Paul Heyman, the advocate, the special counsel, the mad scientist behind the beast, stands beside his client as they make their way down the ramp. Everything seems normal. Everything seems like just another Brock Lesnar entrance. And then, in a split second, everything changes. Brock goes for one of his signature entrance moves, that powerful stomp where he lifts his leg high and brings it crashing down on the mat in sync with the explosive pyrotechnics in his entrance. It's a move he's done thousands of times. It's a move that's supposed to send a message to his opponents that destruction is imminent. But this time, this one time, physics and fortune were not on his side. His foot slips. His balance gives way. And the Beast Incarnate, the most feared man in WWE history, falls flat in front of millions of viewers watching live. The collective gasp from the audience is deafening. For a moment, time stands still. Paul Heyman's face, usually so composed, so calculated, shows genuine shock. The commentary team doesn't know what to say. Do they acknowledge it? Do they pretend it didn't happen? Do they try to cover for one of the biggest stars in the company? And Brock, oh Brock, you can see it in his eyes, that flash of rage, that momentary crack in the invincible armor of the conqueror. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to him. Not to Brock Lesnar. Now before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. If you're finding this analysis compelling, if you're as shocked as the rest of the wrestling world about what happened to Brock Lesnar, smash that subscribe button right now. Ring Rumble is your home for the most honest, unfiltered wrestling content on YouTube, and we're building a community of real wrestling fans who aren't afraid to talk about the moments that WWE doesn't want you to focus on. Hit that notification bell because you know this story is far from over, and when the fallout continues, you're going to want to be right here with us breaking it all down. Let's talk about what makes this moment so significant, so absolutely devastating for Brock Lesnar's mystique. For over 20 years, WWE has carefully constructed an aura around Brock Lesnar that very few performers in the history of this business have ever achieved. He's not just a wrestler. He's not just a champion. He's presented as something beyond human, something unstoppable, something that exists on a different plane from everyone else on that roster. Every entrance, every match, every appearance is designed to reinforce this idea that Brock Lesnar is simply built different. When Brock Lesnar shows up, people get hurt. When Brock Lesnar enters the ring, titles change hands. When Brock Lesnar decides he's done with you, your career trajectory changes forever. That's the power of the character, that's the weight of the presence, and that's exactly what makes the slip so potentially damaging. In one unscripted, unplanned, unfortunate moment, the curtain was pulled back, and we all saw that even the Beast Incarnate is human. Even the man who has been booked as virtually indestructible for 2 decades can have a moment where he looks vulnerable, where he looks mortal, where he looks like any other performer who's had an awkward mishap. Think about the psychology of professional wrestling for a moment. The entire industry is built on suspension of disbelief. We know these are predetermined outcomes. We know these competitors are working together to tell a story. But the best performers, the true legends of this business, make us forget that. They make us believe in the moment. They make us invest emotionally in their characters. Brock Lesnar has been one of the absolute masters of this craft. His matches feel dangerous. His presence feels legitimate. His German suplexes look like they're genuinely scrambling his opponent's internal organs. And now, because of one slip, one fall, one moment of bad luck, all of that carefully constructed credibility takes a hit. The internet, predictably, exploded. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, every wrestling forum on the planet was talking about this moment. The memes started immediately. People comparing it to other infamous wrestling botches. People questioning whether Brock is losing a step at 47 years old. People wondering if this is a sign that Father Time is finally catching up with the man who has seemed ageless for his entire career. And you can bet that backstage at WWE headquarters, there were some very tense conversations happening about how to handle the situation. Here's what makes this particularly interesting from a booking perspective. This wargames advantage match was supposed to build momentum for Brock Lesnar's team going into Survivor Series. It was supposed to showcase his dominance, remind everyone why he's the most dangerous man in professional wrestling, and create that sense of inevitability that when wargames arrives, Brock's team has the advantage they need to dismantle Roman Reigns and his faction. But now, instead of talking about how devastating Brock looked in the match, instead of focusing on the storytelling and the build to the pay-per-view, everyone is talking about the slip. Everyone is talking about the fall. Everyone is talking about that one moment of vulnerability. WWE has a decision to make. Do they acknowledge this on television? Do they have Brock address it somehow? Do they incorporate it into the storyline, maybe having Roman Reigns and his team use it as psychological warfare, suggesting that the Beast is slowing down, that he's past his prime, that he's not the unstoppable force he once was? Or do they do what WWE often does with botches and embarrassing moments, pretend it never happened, move forward with the storyline as planned, and hope that the news cycle moves on to something else? Both approaches have merit. Both approaches have risks. If they acknowledge it, they're giving oxygen to something that hurts one of their biggest stars' credibility. They're admitting that the moment happened, that it was significant, that it's worth talking about. But if they ignore it, they risk looking out of touch, looking like they're trying to gaslight their audience into forgetting something that millions of people saw and that's been replayed countless times online. It's a delicate situation, and how WWE handles it in the coming weeks will tell us a lot about how they view Brock Lesnar's position in the company going forward. Let's also address the elephant in the room. Brock Lesnar is 47 years old. For a professional wrestler, especially one who works the physical style that Brock does, that's ancient. His body has been through absolute hell. NCAA Division I Wrestling, a successful but physically punishing WWE run in the early 2000s, a brief stint in NFL training camps, a UFC career where he took real punches and kicks from some of the most dangerous fighters on the planet, then another decade plus of WWE matches where he's been suplexing people and getting slammed through tables and competing in the most brutal match types the company offers. That's a lot of mileage. That's a lot of wear and tear. Is it possible that what we witnessed on Monday Night Raw wasn't just a simple slip, but a sign of declining reflexes, declining balance, declining physical capabilities? It's an uncomfortable question to ask about someone who has been so dominant for so long, but it's a legitimate question. Athletes in every sport eventually decline. Reactions slow. Balance falters. The body just doesn't respond the way it used to. We've seen it happen to legends in every athletic endeavor, and professional wrestling is no exception. Maybe this moment is the first visible crack in the foundation. Maybe this is the beginning of the end of Brock Lesnar's physical prime. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think this slip is going to have any long-term impact on how Brock Lesnar is perceived? Do you think WWE should acknowledge it as part of the storyline or pretend it never happened? And honestly, have you ever seen anything like this happen to a wrestler of Brock's caliber at such a high-profile moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this is the kind of moment that the wrestling community needs to discuss, needs to analyze, and needs to understand in the broader context of Brock's career. What happened after the slip is equally important to discuss. Brock, to his credit, recovered quickly. He got up, the rage visible on his face, and he proceeded to absolutely demolish everyone in his path during that match. It was like watching someone channel embarrassment and anger into pure violence. Every suplex was stiffer. Every strike looked more brutal. Every moment of offense seemed fueled by a desire to make everyone forget what had just happened. And in a way, it worked. By the end of the match, people were talking about how dominant Brock looked, how his team secured the advantage, how War Games is going to be absolute chaos. But here's the thing about moments like this in the internet age. They don't go away. That clip is going to exist forever. It's going to be in Botch compilations. It's going to be referenced in video packages years from now. It's going to be part of Brock Lesnar's legacy whether WWE likes it or not. The question becomes, how does Brock himself move forward from this? Does he address it in an interview? Does he incorporate it into his character somehow, using it as motivation or as fuel for his intensity? Or does he simply never mention it and let his future performances speak for themselves? One thing is absolutely certain. When Brock Lesnar walks out for War Games at Survivor Series, every single person watching is going to be thinking about this moment. Every entrance move he makes is going to be scrutinized. Every time he stomps his foot for intimidation, people are going to hold their breath wondering if history will repeat itself. That's the curse of viral moments in wrestling. They become part of the narrative whether the performers want them to or not. The reality is that professional wrestling is performed live. Mistakes happen. Botches occur. Even the greatest performers in the history of this business have had moments where things didn't go according to plan. What separates the legends from everyone else is how they respond to those moments. Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck and came back to become the biggest star in the industry. Shawn Michaels had a career-ending back injury and returned to have one of the greatest second acts in wrestling history. The question now is, how will Brock Lesnar respond to this moment of vulnerability? If you've made it this far in the video, you're clearly invested in this story. You're clearly a true wrestling fan who understands that the business isn't just about the matches, it's about the moments, the psychology, the storytelling, and yes, even the unexpected things that happen when you're performing live in front of millions of people. That's why I'm asking you one more time to subscribe to Ring Rumble. We're not here to sugarcoat things. We're not here to pretend that awkward moments don't happen. We're here to give you real analysis, real discussion, and real reactions to everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join our community. Be part of the conversation. The Brock Lesnar slip on Monday Night Raw is more than just a botch. It's more than just an embarrassing moment. It's a reminder that even the most carefully constructed characters in professional wrestling are performed by real human beings who are subject to the same physical limitations as everyone else. It's a moment that will be debated and discussed for years to come. And ultimately, it's a test of Brock Lesnar's ability to overcome adversity and maintain the aura that has made him one of the most dominant forces in WWE history. War Games is coming. The stage is set. And now, more than ever, Brock Lesnar has something to prove.